Hey everybody, welcome back to a slightly different Permaslug episode than normal. I recently just upgraded a bunch of my streaming gear, so if you follow me on YouTube, you might have seen a post about some stuff. A lot of it's still in the works and getting set up, but what I wanted to walk through today is the Elgato Stream Deck. Now, I'm not a streamer per se, but I have streamed on YouTube here before on this channel and definitely intend to in the future. So my goal going into this is just to upgrade my gear a bit, but the Elgato Stream Deck is pretty sweet, even if you're not a streamer. So I want to show you some of the stuff that I've gotten set up and just kind of give you a tour of it. Now, so this is what it looks like right off the bat. There are a few different size variants, so you can get different sizes if you want to, but each of these buttons you see are all customizable. So obviously it doesn't come out of the box this way, but what I've done so far is configure Cloudways, Gmail, my downloads folder. You have some shortcuts that we'll go through in a minute, but I just wanted to give you a sense for the physical size of it. It's not very big, and it comes on this sweet little stand, so you can see that it's pretty small, and then if you want to put it on the stand, you certainly can do so. Now, I wanted to say before we get started that this is not a sponsored review. Elgato didn't send me this stuff. I've never even talked to them. I bought this stuff with my own money. So if you are in the market for this, please consider using the link in the description below. It definitely helps me. It's not any more expensive for you, and I certainly appreciate it. So with that, let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Now, as you can see on your screen here, the Stream Deck software is where you're going to be spending most of your time. So it looks pretty much identical to what you just saw in the physical form. And in fact, when you press one of these buttons, it changes on the screen too. So like if I go into this QuickType folder, if I press that, you can see that it switches on the screen. And now I'm going to go back one. So what you have is a ton of different options here right out of the box. And there's also a bunch of third-party plugins that give you a lot of extra flexibility too. So if you're a actual game streamer, you have a lot of this stuff. Or if you want to just record some of your cool gameplay, you have a bunch of these game capture options right out of the box. For me, what I really cared about was the OBS stuff, so being able to switch scenes super easily without having to click over to OBS and manually switch the scene, which isn't that big of a deal, but it pulls your cursor focus away to that other screen, and it's just a little bit distracting. So now all I have to do is hit my stream folder down there, and then I can change it. So the other super cool thing is you can see that green smiley face icon is just something I uploaded, which is pretty terrible. It's probably going to give me nightmares, but basically the idea is that you can set the buttons to have an on and off state. So like if I switch over to my scene here with only the desktop with no face cam, then you'll see the face icon changes to white, indicating to me that that's not active. But if I press it again and bring my face back, as you can see, then not only did I just switch the scenes, but I also got a visible indication on my Stream Deck down here and also on the screen as to what was happening. So another one is I can switch to my intermission. And then of course I can come right back. So this is all super simple and easy, and this is really, really cool, especially if you take streaming seriously like I intend to in the near future. Jumping back over to our previous screen, a couple of the things that I have here are really neat. So first of all, I have the Cloudways action. So this isn't just a simple URL link. What this is doing is I set it up to basically go to the Cloudways login screen. I set it to wait, well, basically 1 second, 1,000 milliseconds for it to load the page fully. And then I went to the website and counted the number of tabs that it took to get me to the login enter button. And the reason why that's beneficial for me is if we go to Cloudways, you can see I use LastPass, so my username and password are automatically filled in for me. So all I need it to do is basically just hit that enter button, and there wasn't an easy way for it to automatically, find that button. I couldn't use like the CSS selector, or at least in my first 15 seconds of Googling. So what I did was just literally come to the page and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there we go. Now I'm on the login button. So I went back over to the Stream Deck software. I added the system hotkey button of tab 6 times, and then I just told it to press enter. So now if we close this, and then I'll just open up Stream Deck so you can kind of see what I'm about to do. If I press Cloudways, then behind the scenes, it's going to switch me over there, and then it's going to log me in. So it's so cool. That one alone was so cool because I go to Cloudways a lot and it seems to log you out pretty often. So that's going to be just such a time saver. And then if I'm logged in anyway, it's going to do me effectively no harm. I don't really care what it does once I'm inside the account. A couple other just kind of plain Jane ones. So I have my Gmail, get to my email quickly. This one opens my downloads folder. So if I press this, then it opens on the other screen, but you can see there is my downloads that pop up. And then this is OBS, so this will open up any program. As long as you can browse to the exe or the app file itself, then you can use, let's go down here to System, You just use this open and you drag it onto your screen. You can name it whatever you want. You give it the thumbnail, and then you just browse to that directory and you can open whatever you want. So then the other thing is there are some direct integrations. So I do have this record button, which is currently recording, which is why it says stop. And this is for OBS, which is pretty cool, directly built in. The one next to it is a WordPress icon, but basically that just fires up a new Oxygen install for me on my test server so that I can quickly get to that, which is something I do a lot. It does take a minute for it to generate, so I just open that, tab back over to whatever I was doing, and then come back to that in a second. The other thing is down here, there's 3 buttons, which are all for a Spotify control. So of course, I don't want to get copyright struck, so I'm not going to press play, but that's my lower left one. And then it also gives me the picture of the album cover. And then it also gives me the total time remaining in the song, which is pretty cool. And then I have forward and backward controls. There's also more, so if we scroll down here a bit, then we can get to Spotify. So you have all of these Spotify options: volume up and down, shuffle, like, dislike, play, pause, etc. And before I discovered these folders, I kind of thought, man, there's so much stuff here. I just don't understand how you could fit that all. How are you going to pick basically 15 items here? But with the folders, you could have an entire folder for Spotify. So you could stick that in there, you go inside of it, and then you have all your Spotify controls, volume up and down, and so on. But a lot of times I'm listening to like electronic music playlists, and they're super long. If I don't like the song, I just skip forward. So I really don't need that much in terms of Spotify control, but that is pretty neat to have. Another cool one here is the light. So I bought the Elgato key light. And so basically what I can do is in real time, I can turn the brightness up and down. In this case, it's not actually changing much, of course, on the screen there. But if I press the power button to turn it off, you can see that it does actually change. And you can see, obviously, my light is really changing in real time, which is pretty awesome. Now, another one that's super, super awesome, although, somewhat basic, is the quick type function. So if we click in here, I've set up a few quick type things that I find myself typing all the time. And this is just going to be a super easy way for me to speed this up. So like this is done. I often get simple tasks from clients and they're asking me to do something basic, change out this image. So what I can do is in my email program, I can just hit this button and it says, "Hi there, I got this updated for you. Let me know if you need any changes. Thanks." And then I'll just smash send. The other one is when the client goes AWOL on you, you can just hit this other one. I said, "Hi, I wanted to follow up on this. Have you had a chance to review it?" So there's that one. When you're in Oxygen, you sometimes might want some filler text. So I created one that's just a bunch of lorem ipsum. So I'm just going to smash that a couple times. And there we go. Now I have some lorem ipsum text. This last one is kind of a joke, but I said, "Yes, I can make your logo bigger for a fee. $1 million. So there's that. Now, like I said, this is somewhat basic. So really the only thing that works here is, line breaks. So you can just hit enter and the line breaks will be input in your paragraph for you. But there isn't much else that you can do. Obviously, you can change the title there, but in terms of the actual body here, you can't do HTML or anything like that, unfortunately. Okay, so I lied to you. You actually can do HTML with the caveat that whatever you're putting it into has to accept that. So basically, like what I did in this QuickType one for this lorem ipsum was just add the B tag to bold it. So then just put the closing B tag at the end. And then in WordPress, what I was able to do is just go to text, stick in my lorem ipsum, and it does take a second. And then once I go back over to the visual editor, then it applies the bold tag. So if you're willing to basically pre-format it yourself into that, then you can certainly have it with some basic HTML, which is pretty neat actually. You do have the option to press enter after the message though. So if you have like maybe a live chat function and you want there to be like a hold on, I'm checking this for you, and then it to press enter to send, you could certainly do that. I also have one over here for my Calendly booking. So I often get people requesting calls, and instead of fiddling around with them, suggesting times, I just, basically send my Calendly link, tell them to pick a time, and then we go through it from there. So far, this is all that I have set up on my Stream Deck. I'm really interested to hear from those of you guys that have it, what you use with it, and what you found to be super efficient. I didn't really buy this with like time saving in mind, but I think from an efficiency standpoint and just like some really common quick actions, like especially the typing ones, that it's going to be extremely useful. So it's pretty cool. Now, one more thing I wanted to show you is that if you go to the more actions, you can go look at all of the different add-ons that are in here. There's a ton of them, and a lot of them are geared towards people who are actually streaming for like games or, online stuff. But you do have a lot of really cool options in here, like the Spotify integration I already mentioned. and lots of other controls. You can set up timers, which is something I thought about for like BNI Zoom calls where you need to time somebody from like 60 seconds down. Then you could overlay that, and so that might be something cool for you. I hope you found this video interesting. This is a cool little device, and I'm excited to hear what you guys think, so definitely let me know your thoughts. We'll be back to some of the regular WordPress related content, but I thought this was kind of cool for all of us in the WordPress space. So in any case, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in a future video.